Because of corruption, misunderstanding moral obligation, and the wrong choices made, these are the effects to the Filipino people in our environment. Malnutrition, stress, overwork, and inadequate, inaccessible, or non-existent healthcare can hinder recovery and exacerbate the disease. Malnutrition is associated with 54% of childhood deaths from diseases of poverty, and lack of skilled attendance during childbirth is primarily responsible for the high maternal and infant death rates among the poor. Each year, many children and adults die as a result of a lack of access to clean drinking water and poor sanitation. Many combinable diseases and many of the poverty-related diseases spread as a result of inadequate access to clean drinking water. According to UNICEF, 3,000 children die every day worldwide due to contaminated drinking water and poor sanitation. Contaminated water and inadequate sanitation are related to diseases of poverty such as malaria, parasitic diseases, and cytomegalovirus. Diseases of poverty kill approximately 14 million people annually. Gastroenteritis with its associated diarrhea results in about 1.8 million deaths in children yearly, with most of these in the world's poorest nation. In terms of health, poverty includes low income, low education, social exclusion, and environmental decay. Decades of illegal logging, unusually high rainfall, and geography have all contributed to the devastation wrought by storms that have lashed the Philippines. Rain, flood, erosion, destruction of the watershed, and the disaster that will kill so many people and destroy properties as well. With hundreds dead or missing in floods and landslides in Quezon, Nueva Ecija, and the Aurora provinces, blame has fallen on illegal loggers who have stripped hillsides bare and turned lush green forest into death traps. In the last decade, the Philippines has suffered severely from natural disasters. In 1990, Central Luzon was hit by both a drought and a typhoon that flooded particularly all of Manila. Flash floods and landslides that sent mud and logs crashing down on residents, killing about 1,000 people on the southern island, was devastating. The country is frequently subjected to flooding and landslides caused by heavy rain. With 1.2 billion people lacking clean water, waterborne infections account for 80% of all infectious diseases. Increased water pollution creates breeding grounds for malaria-carrying mosquitoes, killing 1.2 million to 2.7 million people a year. And air pollution kills about 3 million people a year. Unsanitary living conditions account for more than 5 million deaths each year, of which more than half are children. More than 2.4 million people have been impacted by the floods, which saw 80% of the Philippine capital Manila underwater. The death toll sits now at 89. Diarrhea, skin disease, and respiratory infections all are cause for the concern of the Philippine Department of Health, who said that at least 2,000 people have been found ill in evacuation and healthcare in Manila and Luzon. The main threat of disease is from an outbreak of a bacterial disease by a rat urine-infested water. Over 362,000 people are still seeking help in government evacuation centers. The poor within most countries are trapped in a cycle in which poverty breeds ill health and ill health breeds poverty. Trichomoniasis is the most common STI, affecting more than 200 million people worldwide. This neglected infection is one of special concern because it is associated with a heightened risk of contracting HIV and preterm deliveries. Diseases of poverty reflect the dynamic relationship between poverty and poor health. While such diseases result directly from poverty, they also perpetuate and deepen impoverishment by sapping personal and national health and financial resources. Malaria decreases GDP growth by up to 1.3% in some developing nations and by killing tens of millions. Women and children are often put at high risk of being infected by cytomegalovirus, which in turn puts them at higher risk of acquiring HIV. Since the mode of cytomegalovirus transmission is usually through contaminated water in streams and lakes, women and children who do their household chores by the water are more likely to acquire the disease. Activities that women and children often do around waterfront include washing clothes, collecting water, bathing, and swimming. Poverty remains the most critical social problem that needs to be addressed. Philippines' poverty line marks individual earning less than 16,841 peso a year. The absolute number of people living in poverty was 26.5 million. This increased to 30.4 million in 2000, and from 2006 to 2009, increased by almost 970,000 Filipinos, from 22.2 million to 23.1 million. Environmental hazards. What can you do?
This is Big Idea 8. Natural hazards pose risks to humans. Natural hazards result from natural Earth processes. These hazards include earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, floods, droughts, landslides, volcanic eruptions, extreme weather, fires started by lightning, sinkholes, coastal erosion, and impacts from asteroids. Natural hazards shape the history of human societies. Hazardous events can have a great impact on humans. They can change the size of human populations and drive human migrations. As populations move into vulnerable areas like coastlines or concentrate in areas that are already inhabited, risks from natural hazards increase. Human activities can contribute to the frequency and intensity of some natural hazards. These hazards include floods and landslides, droughts, forest fires, and erosion. Hazardous events can be sudden or gradual. They range from sudden events such as earthquakes and explosive volcanic eruptions to phenomena such as droughts, which may last decades or even longer. Human populations can be at risk from continual processes such as erosion and land subsidence. One example is the increased risk of flooding in New Orleans. Natural hazards can be local or global in origin. Local events can have distant impacts. This is because of the interconnected nature of both human societies and Earth's systems. For example, a volcanic eruption in the Pacific Ocean can affect climate around the globe. Geoscientists are continually improving estimates of when and where natural hazards occur. This analysis is done through continuously monitoring Earth, increasing our understanding of the physical processes that underlie Earth's changes, and developing scientific models that can explain hazard-related scientific observations. Humans cannot eliminate natural hazards, but can engage in activities that reduce their impacts. Natural hazards can result in loss of life, property damage, and economic costs. Humans can reduce these effects by identifying and avoiding high-risk locations, improving construction methods where they do live, developing warning systems, and recognizing how human behavior affects how people prepare for and respond to natural hazards. An earth science literate public is essential for reducing risks from natural hazards. This literacy leads to promoting community awareness about natural hazards and developing scientifically informed policies that reduce risk. And that's Big Idea 8. Natural hazards pose risks to humans.
We live in a wonderful world, full of life, full of colour, full of beauty. But in recent years, our world has been devastated by hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, and droughts. What does the future hold for planet Earth? The place we all call home. Climate change could destroy the world that we live in. Scientists predict that within 50 years, many parts of our world could be under 20 centimeters of water. We can prevent this if we all work together. There is still time for us to save our world. Solar panels, wind farms, and underwater turbines are being used to produce renewable energy. These are sources that can be used again and again. Although there are still many more things that we can be doing. Things that you and your family can do together. You can reduce the amount of waste you produce. This can be done by being more resourceful with the things that you use and buy. You and your family can recycle many items in your home. Just look at what you can reuse. Jars, bottles, bags. Did you know that 100,000 tons of carrier bags are being thrown away every single year? This is the same weight as 70,000 cars. You and your family could put a stop to this by simply reusing your bags rather than just throwing them away. Many items that you use can be recycled. Cans, bottles, paper, even electrical goods and food can be recycled. It is important we don't just throw these items away. Your used can could easily become part of a new car. And your used glass bottle could be made into new windows for your home. So, make sure you use a recycle bin every time. There are many simple things that you and your family can do around your home. Plant a tree in your garden and watch it grow. Make compost with your leftover food and grow new food. When the weather is nice, hang your clothes out to dry. All these things could not only save the environment, they can also save your family money. What we have right now is a chance to preserve our future. Tell your parents, your grandparents, and your friends to do the small things that count. We must take it step by step to make sure that you have a future to grow up in. Person by person, family by family, community by community. Together, we can make a difference.